Hello, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, coming to you on a hump day, nonetheless. I'm David Huffman, with you, executive producer here at Prime Sports World. If you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, I'm going to be sharing this from YouTube onto our Facebook page. So continue checking us out there at Prime Sports World. We bring you content 7 days a week, 6 days a week, bringing the most up to date content, let you know what's going on in all of your major sports that you really enjoy. Today we're going to be checking in on the second round of the playoffs. There have been basically 4 games, or 2 games played in every single series so far. So we're going to take a look. So we're going to take a look at what those series have looked like so far, and we're going to take a look at what we're going to take a look at what's going on with those series and who do we think has the advantage as we move on into the second part of the series here. Of course, my name is David Huffman again, and thank you very much for joining us here at Prime Sports World. We hope that you continue to check us out because, we create pretty good content here at Prime Sports World, if I do say so myself. Going live multiple times a week and bringing you the most up-to-date content. Tomorrow, we're going to be bringing you our off-season preview for all of the teams that missed the playoffs so far this year. We're going to talk a little bit about what they need to do in the future and what they could be doing this off-season, as some of their situations are a little bit cloudy, especially when it comes to like the Utah Jazz for sure. We'll see what ends up happening with the Utah. Maybe they'll look like a totally different team by this time next season. And continue checking us out at the NFL Supreme, NBA Supreme, Prime Sports World on Facebook, Prime Sports World on YouTube, and PSW_David on the Twitter. And I was supposed to look up what our information is on Twitch, but I forgot. So, I'm pretty sure it's Prime Sports World on Twitch as well. So if you're looking for that kind of content, continue checking us out because we really do appreciate it. We put a lot of work into this show, and we hope to just continue bringing you guys the best content we possibly can. And let us know, give us some feedback on what things we should improve, things we should change as we move forward in this adventure that is podcasting. Thank you very much again. I'm David Huffman, and let's get into the content before I start rambling on any longer. Let's first start in the Western Conference. The Suns are up 1-0 against the Dallas Mavericks. Their game 2 is happening right now, or will begin very shortly here within the next half hour or so. Matt James, the big Phoenix Suns fan. The Phoenix Suns won game 1 despite 45 points from Luka Doncic. The record there for the Suns is 64-18. The Dallas Mavericks, as they played in game 1, looks like the Phoenix Suns won that game. Hold on, sorry, 1 second. They won game 121-114 they were able to survive the 45-point onslaught from Luka Doncic, 15 from 30 from the field, which isn't exactly great efficiency, but I think you'll live with it when he scored 45 points and basically carries this team. No other player on this team scored over 19 points, and that was Maxi Kleber, not somebody you're relying on putting in a 19-point effort on a night-to-night basis. Over here on the Phoenix Suns side of this, we talked about this during the preview episode, that this was going to have to be a season where DeAndre Ayton really shined. 12 of 28 rebounds, 25 points, led the Phoenix Suns in scoring. Devin Booker, 23 points. Chris Paul also chipped in 19 points as well. Devin Booker had a near triple-double in game number 1, nine rebounds and 8 assists. And this just kind of boils down to the talent disparity between these two rosters. I mean, when you look at the starting lineup of the two teams, it's just pretty clear that the Phoenix Suns have a clear advantage when it comes to talent overall on these two rosters. You got Finney Smith, Reggie Bullock, really not players that are ready. Well, I mean, they've been on the roster a long time, but these are not really game changers. Finney Smith is more of a defensive player, not really somebody you're going to be relying on to bring it on the offensive side of the ball, even though he got 15 points in this game, shooting 50% from the field. It's just the Dallas Mavericks literally have no answer whatsoever for Dwight Powell. It's going to be a continual uphill struggle for this team to continue to be competitive as they try to fight through the Phoenix Suns. And I imagine the Phoenix is going to come out in game number 2 real hungry and real thirsty to get this series over with as fast as they can. I just think Dallas just doesn't have enough of they don't have enough of the horses to really compete in a series when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. I do think Luka Doncic is going to have an all-time great series. I believe a stat just came out that he scored already 500 playoff. I think it's 500 points in his playoff games. He's did it in only 16 games. Is the second fastest ever in the history of the league. Only 2 games behind Michael Jordan, his airness. You're looking for that. When it comes to the Phoenix Suns. looking for the Dallas Mavericks. This team can only really go as far as Luka Doncic can carry him, and I just don't know if he's going to have enough in the tank to bring this team to the promised land when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. There's just too much talent on this team overall. On the other side of the Western Conference, we got a very entertaining series going on over there. We got the Grizzlies tied with the Warriors, one game apiece. The Grizzlies could easily be up 2-0 in this series. There has been a substantial amount of dirty play from both teams in this game. Draymond Green ejected from the game one for what was a pretty dirty play where he pulled down Brandon Clark by his injury, made no play on the basketball whatsoever, and that was followed up by game number 2 yesterday, where Dylan Brooks basically fully wound up and hit Gary Payton II while he was going up for a layup. Unfortunately, Gary Payton fell. While trying to brace his landing, basically fractured his entire elbow. He's going to be out at least a month. So it's really sad to see a guy who's worked really hard to, be a productive player in the NBA and kind of have it taken away on a dirty play. These are kind of teams that are kind of being a little bit dirty when it comes to their play on the basketball court. You don't really want to see this kind of stuff happen in the playoffs. It's just unfortunate that it's come to this. But yeah, I mean, both teams have played pretty well. The Grizzlies, as I mentioned, I mean, they're one layup, Morant layup from being up 2-0 in this series. They dropped, looking at the series right now, they lost game 1 by 1 point. They won game 2 by 5 points. As I mentioned, Peyton's going to miss a month. Brooks was ejected. Draymond Green got an elbow in the face, and the fans were kind of having fun with him too as well. I expect this to be a long series. I honestly think this series could go either way. We talked about this during the preview episode of this show. When the Grizzlies go, when the Golden State Warriors go to that death lineup, that's been kind of the kryptonite for many teams when they go up and play against the Golden State Warriors. Memphis can match it when it comes to the players on the roster. I mean, they can roll out. They can roll out 4 deep. They can switch everything. Can play everywhere on the offense, and they can hit shots and make baskets. I mean, we got Desmond Bain, John Morant, Tyus Jones, and then if you want to do Brandon Clark and Jaren Jackson Jr., like that's a lineup that can go toe to toe with this Golden State Warriors death lineup. And nobody really talks about how talented this Memphis Grizzlies team is from top to bottom. They have some really young and good players that are going to be valuable moving forward. With that being said, I just the inexperience eventually at the Memphis Grizzlies. You kind of seen it in that Minnesota series where they're a little bit lackadaisical with the basketball. They make some decisions that are kind of questionable. Even at the end of game number 1, the reason that Memphis didn't go for that two-for-one opportunity. They could have had 2 opportunities to score a basket at the 2-for-1. They chose not to do that, and ended up being detrimental to the team. Ended up being one of the shortcomings of reason why they didn't end up coming away with that game. So yeah, I think the Golden State Warriors, the championship pedigree that they carry around with them from series to series, is going to continue to carry them through this series as well. Give me Golden State. I think this series is going to go 7. But I think Golden State eventually, the experience that they have in the playoffs and the experience of that roster is going to be the part that ends up being the reason that they end up going to the Western Conference Finals. On the other side, I'm going to give Phoenix. Give me still 5 games. I think Dallas will get game 3. I expect Phoenix to take the rest of the games. And then on the Eastern Conference, the way the Eastern Conference thing is shaking up, the Miami Heat just went up 2-0 against the 4-seed Sixers. Joel Embiid out indefinitely still. Heat dominating series with the balanced attack, getting scored from all different sides of the basketball. Basically, everybody who's touched the ball has scored for the Miami Heat, and they've seen a resurgence out of Victor Oladipo as well. It's been really refreshing. And James Harden really struggling in the series, being completely outplayed by Tyrese Maxey. Game 1, Heat 106-92, Heat 119-103 in tonight's game that just wrapped up here within the last half hour or so. But you just look at the scoring output from the Philadelphia 76ers. In game 1, James Harden, 5 of 13 for the field, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 16 points. He was completely outplayed by Tobias Harris, who went 11 of 18 for 27 points in this game. And then, Danny Green pinched in 5 more, but it's just like you look at the depth on this team, you just don't have it when you have the Miami Heat where they have 4 of their starters giving you double digits, plus you have Tyler Hero coming off your bench and giving you 25 more points. PJ Tucker, 10 points, Jimmy Butler, 15. Bam Adebayo had 24 points to go wrong with 12 rebounds. And then Gabe Vincent Gabe Vincent came pinched in another 14 points. So you get balanced scoring from the Miami Heat starting lineup. It's just the Fixers just don't have an answer for this kind of depth that the Sixers are going to be throwing at that the Heat are going to be throwing at them every single night. And I mean that's even been more apparent in game number two, where the Heat won 119 to 103. Tobias Harris 21 points in this game, 38 minutes, out of 17. James Harden, another struggling shooting night, 6 of 15 for 20 points, 9 assists. That's great, but 34 points retires Maxey. You can't have James Harden getting played in back-to-back games, one game by Tobias Harris, the second game by Tyrese Maxey. Even if they are extremely good to talented basketball players, James Harden needs to be the best player on the Sixers for them to even have a chance in this series, and that's why they lose by 16 points. And you go to the Heat, 22 points from Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo pinched in another 23. You have Victor Oladipo punching in 19 points. Tyler Hero, another 18 coming off their bench. Consistent, productive 29 points out of Victor Oladipo, who was an all-pro level basketball player just a few years ago before the injuries kind of caught up with him. This series is going to be a sweep. If Joel Embiid is unable to come back in game three and be some sort of a significant force when he does come back, this series will be over in 4 games. I imagine if the Sixers fall in game three, there's no clear timetable for even Joel Embiid to even return to this series. But it's my opinion that if Joel Embiid is not ready to play in game three and they lose that game, I do not think they'll bring it back. I think they'll forfeit the rest of the series, and that'll be the end for the Philadelphia 76ers. They'll probably look to do something different this offseason. Because a team with Joel Embiid as your best player cannot rely on him to stay healthy for an entire series. It's just playoff after playoff after playoff we've seen where he goes down at the most opportune time. And this season, it's right as the second round of the playoffs about to get started. And Doc Rivers, you got to question, what's going on with why would he even have him in a game where you basically you won the game and yet you still have Joel Embiid in there. Now he's unavailable for the next series. And it's probably going to be a quick 4-game series for the Miami Heat. To the other Eastern Conference matchup, we got the Boston Celtics tied at 1 game apiece with the Milwaukee Bucks. Chris Middleton still ruled out for this series. Bucks win game 1 and convincingly. The Celtics return the favor in game number 2. The question is who has the edge. I think when you look at game number 1, the Bucks come out 101 to 89. Giannis had 24 points. He pitched in a triple-double, 12 assists and 13 rebounds. Drew Holiday, 25 points, 15 from Bobby Portis, and 11 from Grayson Allen. And then on the other side of the ball, 6 of 18 for Jason Tatum, 21 points. A really off-shooting night for a guy who's been amazing during these playoff runs. Al Horford was giving Giannis a little bit of fits at the defensive side of the basketball. 10 points to 12 points and 10 rebounds here in this game. Jaylen Brown had 12 points. Really struggled from the field. 4 for 13 from the field. Really kind of not a great game. 3 for 9 from the 3-point line. And then, not a lot coming off this bench when it comes to the Boston Celtics. You had Derek White leading the team with 10 points off your bench. When Robert Williams is only giving you, I know he got hurt a little bit in this game, and also did Marcus Smart, who didn't play in game number 2 at all after sustaining injury during that game. You're just going to need more bench productivity than what they got out of at least in game 1, and it kind of showed itself in game number 2. So if we look at their box score, game number 2, he got 21 points from Grant Williams. Peyton Pritchard pitching another 9 points. Derek White was 0 for 6 from the field and did not score in that game, but he had an insane plus minus at plus 22 in this game. 30 points for Jaylen Brown, 29 points for Jason Tatum. That's the kind of productivity you want to see out of that tandem as we move forward in this series. 50% from the field for Jason Tatum, 11 of 18 for Jaylen Brown. I'm not doing that math, but you get it. Both those guys were excellent in this game. Another double-double for Al Horford as well. 11 points and 11 rebounds. And then on the Bucks side of this, he didn't get the same kind of level of productivity from Grayson Allen, who only pitched in 5 points in this game. Drew Holiday had 19. Giannis had 28. None of the teams had a very good plus minus when it came to Milwaukee because they kind of got blew out of the gym, losing by over 20 points. And I don't even think the game was even this close. It was at one point, I think this was a 30-point victory for Boston before Milwaukee chipped away a little bit in the third quarter before Boston opened it back up. This is a game that series is going to go 7 games. I think they're going to split the rest of the way. I still would take Milwaukee. I just cannot bet against Giannis when it comes to, anything going on with the NBA playoffs. He's just been proven that he's going to give so much effort every single night. And I also don't expect Brook Lopez to only score 2 points to play for only 25 minutes and get in foul trouble early. I expect him to be more valuable than that. Wesley Matthews, another guy, I think he's going to take more shots in game number 3 and continue to build that confidence in his shot. I'm going to take Milwaukee in 7 games. This is kind of a coin flip series for me. I could literally see this series going either way, and it would not shock me if Boston Celtics end up pulling off with a victory here when it comes to the second round of this year's series. So let's recap that. On the west side of things, I'm going to go Phoenix in 5. I'm taking Golden State in 7. And then on the eastern side of this, I'm going to take the Miami Heat as a sweep in 4 games, and then I'm going to take the Milwaukee Bucks to win a hard-fought 7-game series against the Boston Celtics to set up a Heat Bucks matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then the West, I got Phoenix Golden State, which should be a doozy. When it comes to the Western Conference Finals, let me know what you think. How do you think the things are going to shake out when it comes to the Western and Eastern Conference of the second round of the playoffs? I guess the semifinals in each conference. Do you think Milwaukee is going to take Boston? Do you think the Miami Heat are going to sweep the Philadelphia 76ers? Do you think Joel Embiid comes back and win? On the west side of this, do you think the Sixers? You think the Golden State Warriors are going to be able to withstand another virtuoso from John Morant, Mr. Israel Rivera, CEO of Prime Sports World? Will appreciate that I use the word virtuoso. And then on the other side of this, we got the Phoenix Suns. Do you think Luka Doncic can do enough for this Dallas Mavericks team to make this series a little more interesting, as opposed to, they're losing up 1-0 right now, even with a 45-point game. Do you think that there's going to be enough epic Luka Doncic moments where he can pull off that series and make things interesting? I don't think so. I think he'll only get the 1 game. Just let me know. That's been our dive into the second round. We just wanted to talk about where the series were and how these things stand as they currently constructed. I've been David Huppman. Thank you very much for joining us. We're continuing to be Prime Sports World. We're Prime Sports World on Facebook. We're Prime Sports World on YouTube. We're Prime Sports World on Twitch, and on the Twitter, we are PSW_David. Please continue checking us out because we really do appreciate the viewership. Continue putting out good content, and tomorrow should be a much better show. I got Israel Rivera joining me for a look at what's going on in the offseason for teams that were eliminated from the playoffs, including the Chicago Bulls. Again, I've been David Huffman, and here at the Prime, we bring the heat, babies. And Chicago, we need some heat because it's been a little cold and a little rainy here lately. I am not having it. Get at me. Let me know what you guys think about the show. We'll be back here tomorrow. Y'all have a good day and be safe out there, okay? We appreciate every single one of you, and all we want you to do, our fans, to be safe. So thank you very much. Peace out.